Well, good evening and welcome once again to Letchworth Cable Access. I'm Kyle Adamczak, and tonight we're going to recap what happened earlier this summer at the Perry Chalk Art and Taste of Perry Festival.
Yes, Taste of Summer, Kyle.
Taste of Summer.
Yes.
And to help us walk us through this is Meghan Hauser, who was one of the event coordinators of this wonderful annual flowering of art on our sidewalks. While we talk, we're going to see pictures of the finished artworks. So if you missed it during the day of the actual event, you'll get to see them here. When did it take place this year?
Well, our event's always the second Saturday of July.
Yes.
This year, July 13th.
Yes. And describe what happens.
Sure, I'd love to. So it's one of those events in our village, in our town, that I would say people shouldn't miss because there's really something for everyone. So the morning starts off with the ARC fun bike ride. So that's going on. You have bikers going throughout the community. And then early in the morning, the committee gets things set up, and chalkers are on the ground, adult chalkers, by about 8:15, 8:30, along the festival plaza where we usually have the farmers market. They're out chalking their hearts out until 3 p.m. Mid-morning, the youth chalkers come out about 11 o'clock, and they're chalking up and down the sidewalks in Perry. Also going on at that same time on the other side of the street, we have all kinds of vendors selling their wares, and the Perry Farmers Market for one day relocates to Borden Avenue, its ancestral home, just for the Chalk Festival. And also going on is the Taste of Summer, starting at 12:30. So we have a number of chefs and fine beverages to try at that event. So really, if you're a foodie, if you're someone that likes to chalk, if you're someone that likes art or likes to make art, or if you like to bike, we've got you covered.
Well, do you remember how many entrants there were this year by chance?
We had 36 adults,
Yes.
and that pretty much fills the plaza. There's not much room. And then student-wise, we had 37.
And where did the students do their artwork?
Right along one side of Main Street. So they were
Okay.
chalking right on the sidewalk.
On the sidewalk.
Yes.
Yes. So the students, the children, they were students from Perry School, or were they farther?
All over the place, Kyle.
Yeah.
We have some great entrants from Perry, but we have people that come every year from Gowanda. Their twin sons come in chalk, and that's been 8 or 9 years they've been coming.
Yeah.
We had an entrant that was in Perry for the summer, but she was from England. And a large smattering from Livingston County, Monroe County, Genesee County.
Yes. Now you said they start chalking at 8:30 and they go until 3 o'clock.
Yep.
Does that give them enough time to complete? Are they racing the clock?
Over time, I think artists have learned my feeling is we don't want artists to just exhaust themselves that whole day. It should be fun for them too. So I always advise to make a design that you can construct in that much time. So you have time to take a break, look at what the other artists are doing, go to the Taste of Summer, because otherwise you're just exhausted at the end of the day and not enjoying yourself. So it should be fun for the guests, but also for the artists.
So it's like a vacation, not a marathon.
Well, that's a great way to describe it. We are giving them snacks. I don't know if they'd call it vacation, though.
Okay. So you had winners. You gave out awards. What kind of awards did you give out? What categories and such?
Well, shall I go through them all, Kyle?
Well, why not?
Okay. So our first list we'll go through are the Adult Artist Awards. The Erica Thurkins from East Aurora, that was the first time she's been at our event, was the first place winner, and she everyone is chalking on the theme small, by the way. I should have mentioned that. So when you're looking at the pieces, see if you can find how it fits into the theme.
Small.
Yes.
SMALL.
And her piece was a Frodo Baggins. Tim Humberstone of Perry
Yes.
was second. And I'll let you look at the pieces and I don't have to describe them, but his was based around a small town theme. And third was Daniel Butler, also of Perry. His piece was based on feeling small.
Mm-hmm.
And the adults, we also had merit awards. So T.J. Dill, who comes from Rochester, won a merit award. Sydney and Brian Bell, who were chalking together from Wyoming, also won a merit award. And Tim Martin was the first time we've had him at our event from Lancaster, also won
So you
an
had
award.
two first-timers that won big prizes.
Yeah, that were recognized for sure.
Yes.
Yes, and Sydney and Brian. Sydney's chalked as a youth. This was the first time she and her dad teamed up on the Adult Artist Square. And then our feature artist this year, Claire Wood, was also recognized with a special award, Best Use of Color. And Claire used to live in Perry, but now lives in Cincinnati.
So she thought enough of the event to come all the way from Ohio. Huh?
Oh, yes. I have one artist that tells me, Kyle, that this is his favorite holiday, is the Chalk Festival.
Yes.
Better than Christmas, he said.
Why do you think that?
It's a great day.
Yes. Yes, it is.
And then we have People's Choice Awards. So this is voted on by the guests that come to the event.
This is anybody that shows up. I mean, the spectators, right?
Spectators are voting on this one, yes. So first place in that category was Tim Humberstone.
He got first.
Yeah, and then second was Erica Thurkins.
From East Aurora.
Yeah, and third was Sydney and Brian Bell.
So they bumped up.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, did you have awards for the young people?
Yes, we did. And our youth category is split into two age groups. One is ages 10 to 14, and the other is ages 15 to 19.
Mm-hmm.
So in the 10 to 14 category, first place was Frankie Biondo from Leicester. Second place was a tie of two students, Anthony Laratholi of Brooklyn and Amaya Cirquelos Schonenberger, and she was from London, England.
They traveled a long way just to enter this.
Well, she was here for the whole summer.
Oh, okay.
But it sounds great, doesn't it?
Yes.
And then third was Jaja and Ava Fisher from Buffalo. It's a really neat thing for me, Kyle, as someone that works with the artists, that we have so many parents chalking as adults and then their children are chalking as youth artists. We had 5 adults chalking and 10 of their offspring chalking. And Jaja and Ava are 2 of them. Their dad was chalking as an adult.
Really?
Yeah, and that's really fun when it becomes a generational thing for the whole family.
Now, these are the Gabor sisters?
The Fisher sisters.
Fisher sisters. Jaja and Ava Fisher.
Mm-hmm.
So what about the category, the teenagers, 15 to
Sure.
19?
So first place was Noah Harvey of Perry. Second was Isabella West, also of Perry. And third was Olivia Flack from Spencerport.
Excellent.
There were
Now,
some special awards for the youth.
Oh, what were those?
Best use of theme was Ava Gamarchik from Penfield.
Uh-huh.
The funniest award went to Luke Lawton of Livonia.
Yes.
And messiest artist was Olivia Flack of Spencerport.
Now, how was messiest artist determined?
The judges determined the category,
The
Kyle.
chalk that was on the artist? Or
Could be. That is a request future artists have made, is that they'd like to have a mirror at the registration desk so they can check out how they look before they continue on in public.
Now, did the patrons, did the spectators select People's Choice for the youth?
They did, yes. First place for the youth People's Choice was Rev Sanford of Pavilion. Second was Amaya Cirquelos Schonenberger, again from London. And then third was Luke Lawton of Livonia.
So, that's a nice rundown. What was your takeaway from some of these pieces?
I just love how there can be so many interpretations of a theme.
Yes.
The committee every year puts a lot of thought into how to make a theme that's versatile and will be able to speak to a lot of people. And many artists this year said to me, "Oh, it was such a hard theme, but I was so pleased because it gave me a lot of things to think about throughout the year."
Yeah.
So it makes me happy that the artists really take the theme to heart and think it through. And to see the variety for the word small, there was such a wide array of ideas.
Yes. Now, how was the weather this year?
Fantastic. It was so nice to not be worried 3 or 4 days ahead of time whether it was going to rain.
There was no chance of it that weekend, right?
Yes, thank goodness. And then the last couple of years, I'm sure you remember, Kyle, that we just had a
Yes.
downpour right at the end of the event. And I think it's probably nothing worse than to have artists watch their art wash away before they've even left the plaza. So to have it last through Sunday evening this year was great.
Now the day starts for the artists at 8:30 when they start chalking. What about for the event coordinators? When does their day start?
Friday night, we're picking things
Friday
up,
night.
getting things ready. We want Perry to look great for everyone that comes to
Yes.
visit. And then Saturday morning, we arrive about 6 because we have a great volunteer group that helps us.
And what are some of the things that the volunteers do or have to do?
Set up chairs, sweep the plaza, take down chairs, go to see the artists and see if they have any needs, walk up and down the main street to see if any garbage needs to be changed, things like that.
Yeah. Now, did you draw a lot of people this year?
I'm going to estimate, we don't have admission, so I'm going to
Yes.
estimate it was between 3,800 and 4,000 people.
Yes.
There were a lot of people I've never seen in Perry before. And our shuttle bus had the most riders we've ever had. If you happened to venture off the plaza, which I didn't do very often, you could see that cars were lined up and down Main Street.
Yeah.
So really, I think well attended this year.
Yes.
A lot of good press leading up to it too. We had coverage on some Rochester affiliate stations and Rochester papers and Buffalo papers. So that
Excellent.
helps.
Excellent. Now, there was entertainment
Yes.
throughout the day. Who entertained?
So music-wise, we had 3 groups on the main plaza. Kelly's Old Timers, and the Brothers Blue and Creek Bend in the main tent. We also had Elise Kelly at the farmer's market, so you could shop and enjoy music for your vegetables. And we also had Johnny Bauer in the Taste of Summer tent.
Now, the Taste of Summer. How did that go?
Again, really well attended.
Describe what that is again. The
Sure.
Taste of Summer.
So it's a large tent we set up on Lake Street, the bottom of Lake Street,
Yes.
themed this year around a beach. And there are a number of restaurants that work on creating small tastes, so 2 or 3 bites of food on the theme of local and fresh. And also we have, so wineries and breweries also come and serve their products. You buy tickets and then purchase the products with that.
Yes.
So fine dining in the fresh air in downtown Perry.
Now, what would you say the age range was of the attendees, the guests, the spectators?
All ages, Kyle. Really good
Yeah.
family attendance.
Yeah.
And I also love the fact that because it didn't rain, people keep coming all Saturday night. When the event is done, they're still coming Sunday morning after they're finished with their breakfast or going to church. They all come out and walk up and down the plaza. There's always 25 or so people looking at the art, even when the event is done.
It's the afterglow
Yeah,
session. Yes.
and it's really fun.
Let's see. Now, sponsors.
Sure.
Did you have sponsors this year?
Yeah, and again, that's a really heartwarming thing for a committee to have about 50 community sponsors say we want to be part of this event.
50.
Yes, it's really super.
I'd say so.
Oh, and one other cool thing we haven't talked about, Kyle. This was our first year having a large-scale 3D art piece.
Yes, I was about to ask you about
How
that.
did you know?
Well, the 3D art piece, where was that located?
That was just off the Festival Plaza.
And it was larger than the other artworks.
Yes, that's why they needed a larger space to chalk. So
And who were the people that did that?
the group is called Rogers Create. It's a husband and wife team from Wisconsin, Craig and Jamie Rogers. And they travel a lot through Wisconsin, but they've traveled to other places in the United States to create their art too. And it was really interesting to see a piece made at that scale and in 3D.
And they did it, how quickly did they do it, or did they have to start ahead of time?
They were prepared to start on Saturday, but because the weather was good, they decided to chance it and started Friday night sketching out the biggest parts. So they also had a longer window to make their piece.
So they weren't entering in the
No.
competition, it was an exhibition for them.
Correct.
Excellent. Now, how did you find out about them?
Well, through the wonders of social media, Kyle.
Yes.
When we have a site for our event, and we are contacted by people throughout the United States interested in attending.
Uh-huh.
We had some of our adult artists from South Carolina this year that entered.
Yes.
And as you saw, some of the other places, just people find us. And the Rogers contacted me and had a real interest in participating.
Now you had another new feature this year, the chalk wall.
Yes, Tammy Kelsey of Perry was wonderful and made a chalk wall for us. We've always had a little bit of concern of not being accessible for all people to chalk, because you have to get down on the ground and chalk,
Yes.
and not everyone can do that.
Right.
So this was a really neat piece of vibrant, changing art. She made a frame, and in the frame we could put 1-by-1 boxes that were covered with chalk paint, and then we made available pastels for everyone to use. And when all the boxes filled up, you could flip it to another side, and it would be blank and could be started again.
So it was a movable wall?
Each one of the boxes could move.
Oh, really?
Yep. So you had a large array of boxes, and when some of them filled, I would go out and change one of the boxes or two of the boxes to blank, because people kept coming up and chalking. So.
Now, have you ever entered the chalk art contest?
No, I'm a coordinator, Kyle. Not the artist.
How did the chalk art in Perry begin?
Oh, great
What was the
question.
inspiration for that?
Well, a while ago, 13 years ago, because this was the 13, we
Yes.
celebrated Perry's bicentennial, the original founding,
Yes.
and wanted to have a special event. And so we thought having something that piggybacked with the farmers market, because we knew there'd be a crowd already. And one of the things we had was asked Mike Sparling, Mr. Scribbles, to do a chalking, which he did right outside the bookstore. And that was the initial chalking. And from that year, we kind of grew and grew from there.
Yes. Well, now you mentioned themes. Has a theme been selected for 2020?
We're in the finalist stages right now. We met 2 weeks ago and selected 6. And then we like to wait 2 or 3 weeks and let them all sit in our brains. And that's the committee. And then we will announce it to the artists shortly after that, because really some people like to know as soon as they can to be
Yes.
planning.
Now, who serves on the committee?
The people? Or
Yes.
Well, we have people pretty much from all walks of life in Perry.
Well, who served this year?
We have Christine Narowski, who handles volunteers. We have Beth Beggy Ward, who does a lot of things at the day of the event and is kind of the downtown business liaison. Carrie West handles the financial end of things. Rachel Webster and her daughter Kirsten work on the vendors. It's always hard to do all this. Angel Lowry coordinated lots of things with the school, as well as took care of things like weeding the garden, taking care of those little details that need to be done to make the event
Yes.
look great. And Nicole Branch was working with Taste of Summer along with Jackie Billings to make that
Yes.
event all take place.
How nice. Now, you've been with us from the beginning, and you said it started modestly just in front of the bookstore.
Yes.
How has it changed over the years, besides the size of it?
Oh, so one of the great things, Kyle, is that Festival Plaza was built.
Yes.
You might remember when we used to be on Borden Avenue with the Chalk Festival, and it's not as ideal to be on asphalt typically, especially not on a road, because there are cracks or issues with it. And we would have to paint tempera to make squares for the artists. So the earliest you could paint tempera was about 6:30 in the morning,
Yeah.
and then you'd be waiting for the paint to dry so the artist could start. And that was very nerve-wracking for
Yeah.
organizers when it wasn't drying.
So when did the plaza get put in? I forgot.
Oh, I think you're quizzing me, Kyle. It's been at least 5 or 6 years.
Yes, yes.
So that was a wonderful change for us.
Now, does special maintenance have to be done to the plaza to get it ready?
Well, you might notice this year there was some work on the concrete that the town took care of, and that made a big difference in making it a more welcoming place.
Yes.
Prior to the event, we sweep the squares. The village comes in Friday night and Friday morning, I should say, and uses a street sweeper on the plaza and the other areas we have the event. So really, a lot of people are chipping in to make this place look good for the event.
It's a big team effort.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you work on this?
Well, I like to make Perry a great place. I'd like to make Perry a place where maybe my kids someday say, I'd like to live in Perry. And I
Yes.
hope that other youth growing up in Perry might get that same feeling.
Yes.
And I think arts are incredibly important to the well-being of our community, as well as just having a community event where people can come together and see
Yes.
what it's like to be in Perry.
Well, want to thank you for coming in tonight. Our guest is Meghan Hauser, who is the event coordinator, one of the event coordinators of the Perry Chalk Art Festival. And want to thank you and hope you've been enjoying looking at the pieces of work that have been shown throughout the show. Do you have anything last things you'd like to say, Meghan?
Well, next year's event, July 11th, 2020.
And it'll be a nice sunny day.
Thank you, Kyle. Perfect.
All right, well, we'll fade out. We'll stop talking and we'll let you look at some more of the artwork. Thank you. This is Letchworth Cable Access. Thanks for watching. Good night.